So today we have the latest and greatest plug and play retro emulation console from Kinhank, straight off of the boat, straight to Amazon, straight to my door. We're gonna be taking a look at this today. So this is the newest. There's no reviews on Amazon yet. They've just posted this, it looks like, or very recently. This is the Super Console X4 Plus. Now, we've taken a look at tons of their consoles, their X2 consoles, their X3s, and those X's typically mean what system on a chip they're using. So if it's an X2, it's an S905 X2. If it's an X3, it's an S905 X3. I believe this is the first S905 X4 that we've looked at from these guys. And okay, you know, I've had a lot of back and forth with them on, hey, you guys send me these products, I take a look at them, you guys say, hey, this is new, it's improved, and doesn't really seem like a lot's going on here. But hey, maybe they got it right. I don't know. I mean, there's more power here, it seems. But that's not always going to be the complete story we need to know. Is the build on here great? Have they cleaned it up? Because I've told them that. Like, hey, I've given you guys everything you need to know on what my criticisms are with these things. That, hey, the build's sloppy, there's games that don't run, stuff like that. They included a 256 gigabyte micro SD card on this thing. Should have over 90,000 games, but we're going to go ahead and boot this thing up. Check out the build quality of the actual, you know, the image, the setup that they have on here. And, you know, just see the more demanding stuff, see if it's clean, if there's a lot of duplicates, because that's another thing I kept pointing out to them, and they brought up, like, hey, we're listening to you, because I told them, like, you guys don't listen to me. You send me this stuff, and then you know, you're like, hey, we're going to send you something new. It's improved. And then I say it's not improved, and they get, you know, annoyed. But hopefully this is good. HDMI cable, power cable. We have another micro SD card, probably just for Android stuff. This is supposed to have Emulation 4.6, Core Elec, and Android 11, so can be used in multiple ways. Serviceable, not going to say too much on these. Usually they're okay, not the greatest, but they'll make do. Controller takes two AAAs. Got two USB ports, it looks like. It's enough for the two controllers it came with. This thing does seem to be taking a hell of a long time to boot. What the hell's going on here? Maybe a first time setup or something built in? I don't know. Looks like it's doing something though. Okay, I really don't know what's going on here, as normally with these setups I haven't had this happen where it's starting a bunch of services and doing things, so I don't know. But it's been some minutes now. I know I cut that all out of the video, but it's been a good 5 minutes, and now I have a black screen, so I don't know. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shut the camera off for a moment, and I'm gonna reboot it and see if that was just a one-time setup thing. If it does that every time you boot up, that's kind of crazy. It was like 5-6 minutes for that little splash screen to show up. Now another black screen, so I don't, what the hell is going on? Finally, it's loading the systems. Holy crap, dude. Why is this taking so long? Is this an S90-4 chip? Holy crap. Okay, literally, to get into this, took about 8 minutes on first boot up. So I'm gonna turn the camera off. I'm gonna reboot and see if it does that every time. We'll be right back. Okay, so I rebooted the system. I've actually rebooted it a couple times because I wasn't believing what I was seeing. Every time I boot this thing up, it goes through that long list of crap, and it takes forever to load up. Not quite as long as the first time, but like the first time is maybe 8 minutes to get to this screen. Every time after, about 4 or 5 minutes. It's ridiculous, man. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it's got a lot to load, because we do have 103,000 games, 103,244 to be exact. And I have recorded a bunch of footage, gone through things, kind of gathered my thoughts, and I'm starting to wonder, is Kinhank just fucking with me, man? Because this is just getting ridiculous. So I have noticed some differences with the game list. Not too much compared to their other consoles, but There's really, nothing extra on here. We have a lot of the same problems, maybe even more so than usual. But let's go through this list, and I'm going to kind of talk about some of the things I've noticed, because I don't know, for this being a, S905 X4, more powerful, I think this is like a different system or something. Like, it doesn't make sense. There's a lot of stuff on here that plays just fine, but everything takes a hell of a long time to load. It's ridiculous. But let's go through this. I noticed like CPS 1 and 2's listed here, but no CPS 3. But all those games are in Final Burn Alpha, but all the CPS games, they're gonna repeat like a million times. How many Street Fighter 2s do you need? You get all the ROM hacks and all the regions, plus different variants. You get like 500 different Street Fighter 2s, like 100 Street Fighter 3s. It's ridiculous, man. So yes, duplicates out the ass, ROM hacks out the ass, without any kind of organization for the most part. And then, okay, Amiga CD32. There's 80 games here. I tried playing a handful of them. Took freaking the longest time ever to load. A lot of these, like before you actually get to the game. And then the controls don't work. It's just a little box in the corner. There's something wrong with the setup with Amiga CD32. Just ridiculous. But you do have all your 8, 16-bit stuff. All those things are going to run fine, but it's going to be riddled with just sloppiness. These guys, man, I'm kind of done with them, man. Like, they keep sending these things, saying the same bullshit, and it gets worse and worse, it seems. They don't listen to anything. Super Graphics should be 5 games, 319. Boosting those numbers, bro. That's what they're doing. Famicom, 2,471 games. And it's going to be tons of duplicates, NES games, Famicom games, just all mixed together. Like, they don't know what they're doing. They're just preying on people here. 1,582 games for NES. Doesn't make sense because you're going to have multiple regions. You're going to have Famicom. Both of these lists, yeah, the numbers are different, but they're the same. They're the same. They didn't sort them. ROM hack's going to be the same thing for the NES. 2,500 freaking games. They're not all ROM hacks, mind you. It's stupid. And then you're going to have the same thing with Super Famicom. 14,000? Give me a break, dude. There's no way there's almost 15,000 Super Famicom games. It's stupid. Super Nintendo, that doesn't exist. That's not how many games there are for Super Nintendo. This is dumb. It's multiple regions and duplicates. These guys are they're stupid, man. Kinhank, you guys suck. What is wrong with y'all? Nintendo 64, okay, they have 188 games, dwindled down. You would think, okay, these should be the games they know runs because they want to, take their time and look at things. No. I tried playing Wave Race, a few other games. They're just a choppy mess. Most of these games don't work. What is this system? This thing sucks, whatever it is. I don't know, man, but it's freaking horrible. 3DO, you know what we're in store for with that. The Need for Speed test. And it turns out to be the Need for Speed dating, as one of my commenters said before. Yeah, takes forever to load. These games run worse than they usually do, and the games are wrong. It's just weird. I mean, it's not weird. I'm kind of used to it now. Atomic Wave. These games take freaking forever to load. Not like an initialization thing. No, they just take forever. But some of them seem to run okay. Jeez, I don't know what's going on in this world, man. Look at this, Mega Drive. 501 games? Okay, but how many Mega Drives do we got? So 501, that sounds all right. Like, dwindled down list. Genesis, almost 1,700 games. What? But then Mega Drive is listed again. 2,100 games. Sega Saturn. So Sega Saturn, they didn't really put much. They kind of changed the list a little bit, but these games seem to run okay. Takes a hell of a long time to load, though. Dreamcast, hit and miss. Some of these games don't even load. Like, what did they do? They ain't listening to a damn thing I'm saying, that's for sure. Naomi's the same thing. It runs okay, but a little choppy here and there, depending on the game. Takes forever to get into the game, though. What else do we have? Oh, PlayStation, the PlayStation test. These guys are known for not listening with PlayStation. The games do not have music. They run fine. PlayStation games run on your mom's Vibe connected to a toaster to a frickin' induction oven. with a hamster in the wheel. PlayStation runs on anything nowadays, but on this, it runs, but there's no music. So bring your own. Oh my God. PSP, they kind of dwindled it down a bit, but there's not much. It's mostly minis, a bunch of crap. But some of the more demanding games, actual PSP games, they'll run, but they're a little sluggish. Just kind of weird. But that's pretty much it. This is a set it and forget it and come back later type of system. Maybe it'll boot up in 5 to 10 minutes. And then when you select your game, you know, go take a leak, whatever you need to do, come back in a couple minutes because the game may load at that time, or it might not load at all, or it might not work. The other thing is this controller. Usually I'm not too critical with this controller, and I'm not trying to be today either, because I think it may just be the system, because things just aren't responding well. Very sluggish. Sometimes the system hangs up, but in games I'm noticing a ton of input lag. So seems to be a problem here. Seems to be a problem. And the button configuration is just off the rails stupid. Everything's set up wonky. Other times I usually don't have too many issues with the configuration. You can redo that. Some of these issues you can fix on your own. But overall, Kinhank, like, get it together, man. You guys suck. Like, is it a language barrier thing? Because they tell me they understand what I'm telling them, but obviously they freaking don't, man. Like, I just want to destroy it. I don't get it. It's got a nice little cooling fan in there. I can feel the fan that's quiet. So it's not like, hey, this thing's overheating or anything. It's fine, but it's just the system sucks, man. It's sluggish. It's slow. It's stupid. Pass. Bye.